Hey, welcome back to the channel. Good to see you again. Hope you're all well. Thanks for joining. So, today on the bench, I'm going to change gears and do something a little different. This is a Miny, or a Miny. Some people call it a Miny, but I think it's pronounced Miny. Now, it's not really obvious what it is when you look at it. Well, maybe it is for some people because it's got rewind, stop, play, record. But if you open the lid, it's got a pink lid with a badge on it. It's kind of nice. It's a nice finish on this. And but it is a tape recorder, tape player. Now, this came to me from the missus. She was at a antique sale or something like that, and she spotted this, so she picked it up for me. And I think she paid a good price. But yeah, she brought it home for me, and here it is. So I know nothing about this. No information whatsoever. It's a real mystery to me, this thing. But it's really cool looking. And I'm interested in getting it going. It runs on the 3-inch tape reels. And let's have a look at this thing. So it has a volume control and a stop button, which is a momentary push button, and then it's got your mode switch, rewind, stop, play, record, no fast forward, carrying handle that's integrated into the case with a badge on it. So of course you got your two reel tables, and it's got two heads. One's an erase and one's this one's probably the playback record, and this is probably an erase head. It looks like it might be damaged. We'll get to that in a bit. Yeah, it's falling apart, kind of falling apart inside. There's screws missing, and yeah, it's not healthy. It needs help. It needs a lot of help. So we have on this side, we have a microphone input, which did not come with it, which is a bummer. And it has a blemish on the bottom cover, which is broken. There's a piece missing. It's about an inch long. Another bummer. It has a monitor output, which is either headphone or external speaker, I believe. And then there's another 1/8-inch jack here that looks like somebody installed aftermarket. It doesn't look like that's factory, but it might be. I don't know. But on the bottom, there's really nothing other than the made in Japan. You can see there, made in Japan. And kind of a real cool little thing. Pop the bottom off, and nothing in here. There's no stickers. Somebody either removed the stickers or they fell off a long time ago. But it'd be nice if there's some documentation on either a model number or something here. Here it says 401 on the PCB board. PCB board's missing a couple screws, and everything's loose and flopping around. Has two motors for take up and supply reel. This here is a potentiometer or rheostat, and that is our speed control. It's really difficult to turn. It's really stiff. And we have our audio amplifier board here. It looks to be very early. Let's have a look here. See if I can spot any transistors. There's a 205 one in there. Actually, let's just take the screws out and have a look. Proper look. It's long screws. So this is ooh, things are falling apart inside already. What was that? Not entirely sure what that was. Something was loose. Okay, so here's first look at the power amplifier and board. Got some antique Elna caps. Look at this one. Those are really old. Elmas. 30 microfarad, 10 volts. You know, one transistor here, one here, one here. And I think that's it. No, there's two here. So that's our push-pull audio output. 1, 2. 2 stages of amplification, and then the output stage. 2SB 99. That's an old one. Something's clicking around in here. What is it? Piece of tape. These ones here are 2SB 113s. Quite old. So let's see. It's clicking around here. Something's loose. Not sure what that is. Oh, here it is. Ah, it's a post. My tweezers. It's a post that we're going to have to re-glue. So we'll get that re-glued. That's probably one of the reasons why everything's so loose. So, looks pretty good shape for what it is. I think what we need to do first is find some batteries and power this thing up. So let me put the these two mounting screws back in. Oh, that one's broken. Let's put one screw in just to hold it. Okay. Now, looking at the battery compartment. Looks like it takes 3 C cells and 6 AAAs. So let's load this with batteries. But first, we got a green corrosion here. Let's get this green corrosion cleaned up before we fit batteries in. Okay, all I'm going to do is hit it with my Dremel, and I have a brass wire brush on here. So let's just turn this on and get this cleaned up. Okay, I think it's just about done. I don't want to remove this card. I think this is impeding my... There we go. Now I can clean it all the way down. Now I can't really clean underneath. The underside is all. I'm going to have to, I can't even remove this board because it's all riveted in place. I'll have to see about cleaning the inside. You can still see it's green inside, but the outside's good, so it should work. Let's put this back together and load her up with batteries. Okay, we have a kind of a peculiar mounting of these batteries. We've got 2 pointing this way and then 1 pointing this way. I don't know if you understand what's that all about, but we'll put some in here. So apparently the batteries supply the motors with power, and the AA's supply the amplifiers. So let's open this up. See if we can get this thing working. Okay, well, we have a huge problem there. We don't have any. We have to bend the spring. Okay, so let's take this one out. Bend the spring back. That should work. Let's try it again. There. Now, get these. Okay, if I can keep that down long enough, put the back on. All right. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. A volume pot. Let's turn it right up, full blast. Should we load a tape? Let's load a tape. Another thing I noticed is I'm missing a cover here on the head assembly. So I'm going to have to live without that. Okay, here we go. Okay, we got motor. We got no motor on this side. No motor. Rewind. Rewind, that doesn't work. It's really stiff. I think I know why too, because the chassis isn't bolted or screwed up to the case, so everything's hanging down and is dragging. So like if I look here, these tables are both dragging. They should be up in the air a little bit and then spin free. So we got a bit of work to do. Let's pull the batteries out and let's take it all apart and have a look at it. Let's remove the real tables. Looks pretty good. The rubber looks good. Looks healthy. It's pliable. It's soft. That's good. Good news. Okay, next. Same thing. Everything looks good on these. So the way it works is you have a motor here and motor here. This one has a wider diameter than this one. This one's your playback motor. This one's your rewind motor. And it rubs up against this rubber edge. This is a tire, and this motor rests against it. When you switch between modes, these two things go back and forth. Rewind. What it does is it pushes this motor away and lets this motor come and contact the tire and stop, play. It pushes this one back and allows this one to come and contact the tire. Same with record. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. That's how it works. So I've got one screw here. Oops. Two washers that fell out. Those go on the bearing. Two washers. And they are all dry. There's no lubrication on this. So it'll certainly benefit from a lubrication. And let's take this out. I can certainly see I'm going to need to fix. Lift this out now. Take this out. Let me remove this. Looks like somebody installed that there, and it's in the, it's shorting out on the chassis. Oh boy. There we go. Okay, we have to remove this. 6mm? Yeah. Okay. Alright, there's our speaker. It's been protected. And it looks to be in great shape. But the rest of this isn't in great shape. Look at this case. We got quite a few breaks. We got to re-glue this mount. This mount is missing. A big chunk here. Got to re-glue that mount. So I'll get busy. I'm going to make up some epoxy here and get busy with the repairs. So it looks like we're in luck. Everything is here. All these little threaded inserts. See, this is a threaded insert. It's got a roughed up edge, and this sits in the plastic like right here. It provides an anchor for this chassis. This one here, for example, you can't see it. This one here still has the plastic on it. You can take that one off, and we can glue this one back together. This one goes here, I think. No, this one goes here. Got them backwards. Yeah, that's better. So that one gets glued there, and then I have a stud that's in the plastic, and then this one can go here, but I'm missing other pieces. This piece is missing from here. Somebody attempted to glue it, but it didn't stick, so I'm going to Dremel off all the old glue, and then I'm going to re-epoxy this one. This one's missing a... this one actually is missing... No, it's still here. But I'm missing the plastic from it, so I'm going to have to build up with epoxy around it. And we should be able to repair this. This post goes back in this corner. I think this thing was just dropped, and this brittle plastic you have to be super careful with. Here's another piece that goes here for the speaker. So let me mix up some epoxy, let me get busy on that. I'm not going to show it all. It's just re-gluing pieces together and getting my hands sticky. Nothing exciting about that. And then we'll let it set up overnight. Alright, looks like I found the problem for our first problem. Our first issue is, look at the way this switch is working. So this little switch here is our mode switch. This powers up. There's a single pull double throw here, and single pull single throw here. And these are all momentary. So if I go reverse, that pushes up on this and makes the contact on those two leaves, even though the buttons on the contacts are really poorly aligned. So if I go play mode, look what happens. It completely skips over them and doesn't even make contact. So no wonder it wasn't working. So this is too high or this is too low. And I happen to think this is too low. Now we can adjust. We got adjustment here with these two screws. We can loosen that, we can adjust it. But on the side here we have two screws, and these, oh, these were loose. Yeah, and that actually clamps the stack down. So if we get this back together again, we can make this good. Let's get it right about that height, right in the middle of this wafer. Let's tighten this one down. Let's tighten the other one. Torque them both down pretty good. Okay, so now we should have reverse, play. Things working now. These two is looking at how these contacts mate. Yeah, Probably needs an alignment. But it's working now. It'll work now because everything's contacting. Okay, let's have a look at this head assembly. This head assembly is one screw. Guidepost. You can see the wear on it. And this one. See the wear on this one. I don't know if you can. There's dirt in there too. You can see that little dark spot is dirt, and then the brass looking thing is wear. And then the silver is the plating on the rest of it. So it's worn through. What we can do is we can just swap positions. If we put this post here and this post here, when we tighten them down, they won't be in the same position as they were before. See? Now the wear is on the inside here. You can't even see it. And this side here is not worn at all. So that's what we'll do. But first, let's have a look at the heads and see what has to happen there. It doesn't look like we have. This mechanism drops the pads. Okay, this one screw has to come out. Okay, now what I want to do is remove the heads completely. Doesn't look like I can. There's a couple things here. This I want to inspect. See how this has come apart. I want to make sure nothing's damaged. If this is pulled on, I just want to make sure that's all okay in there. So I'm going to disconnect this. And black and white wire goes under. Oh, there's a splice right here. Yeah, I can remove it on the back here. Okay. So let's warm up the iron and remove the head. Alright, let's have a good look at this head assembly. It's nothing spectacular, I'll tell you. So we have two heads here. Here is the erase head. Let's get a focus on this. And you can see we're getting quite a reflection here. But there is the erase head. So you can see the tape path goes from probably about here. You see the wear from the tape to about here, and that's the width of the tape, 1/4 inch. And the erase head spans half of that, so it's erasing the full one side of the tape. And then you've got this part here is our iron core of the erase head, and then they have like a copper strip down the center as a gap. You can't really see it that good. It's copper. It looks copper. And it's not very much wear. There's a lot of dirt on here. Let's clean it while we're here. So we've got some alcohol. Let's clean this. Looking better. Okay, I think that's probably a lot better now. Let's have a good look at it. Another thing I noticed about this head is it's cockeyed. If you can see, it's the tape path is crooked. That's because the head is crooked. It's sitting on an angle. doesn't really affect the operation of it, but it's not, shouldn't be crooked like that. It should be straight. So doesn't look like there's much wear on this. Hasn't seen much use. All right, let's go on to the record playback head. This one's even dirtier. Yeah, let's clean this one as well. Really got to scrub some of this stuff off. You know, black that's getting. All right. What is this yellow stuff here? Looks like adhesive or something. Coming out of the head itself, or where is it from? It's coming clean. But when you get close in, you can see all the flaws and stuff on the head. Scratches, and you name it. Okay, so here's our playback erase head. Now it has a lot narrower gap here. You can see the gap down the middle. It is really thin, and that is to increase frequency response. Because as your tape goes past, a wide gap will only give you a certain limited frequency response, and a narrower gap will give you more, because the little magnetic fields it's putting down are thinner, so you get to a higher frequency. This one looks pretty beat up though. It's very little wear on it. I think I might just take, this is some 1000 grit here. I think I might just take some 1000 grit and just try and doctor this up a bit. See if we can get rid of, clean up a lot of this. I'll keep going. Okay, I think that's a lot better. Get a better focus on this. Now, this, yeah. These heads are in great shape. Very little wear on them. And yeah, they're ready to go back in, I guess. I wanted to have a look at the back here. This here is opened up. I don't think there's anything that's wrong with it. It seems, press on it. It's just the way it was manufactured. It's going to have to do. Alright, so I was looking at the build quality of this thing. It doesn't seem to be built to a very high standard. It's very, it almost looks like it was built for the toy market, the way it's put together. And I'm not seeing, like, no lubrication on the real tables. It was dry. No lubrication on any of these joints. It looks like they just slapped it together. Even these motors, they're like they're put on and they twist the little tang there and holds it in. There's no screw. It's very cheaply made and just slapped together, kind of. It's held up well. It's just that it doesn't seem they put much effort into the construction of this. I think it was probably marketed as a high-end toy for like maybe teens or something back in the 60s. You know, it's kind of a cool toy to have a tape recorder back in those days. That was something special. So I'm gonna give this a service, a full service. I'm gonna give this lubrication. These motors, they're looking very dirty here. If I could show you, this part here is right here at the bearing. It's all kinds of crud and muck, dust. So I'm gonna clean all this out and relubricate these motors. I'm going to treat the couple of, well, this is a rheostat. Really don't need to treat that, but the potentiometer needs to be treated. That's for sure. And then I just want to go through and lubricate all this, like all these sliding areas, like this is all dry here, and make it a little better. Then we'll get on to the amplifier, and I think I already did some checking of some caps, and I did find one dead cap already. Some of these caps are holding up, like these big Elnas here, these 30 microfarad. They're holding up. They're not dead yet, but they're pretty tired. So I don't know, a full recap, or maybe just get the essentials going. And what is that down there? Oh, that's a spring, a switch. There's a switch here for the playback record. And that clicks in there like that. I can see it moving. So I'll have to treat this switch. Yeah, I'm just going to give it a general service and make sure everything's lubed. I really don't want to disassemble any more than I have to. But I might. Might have to take these out. Take these out, lubricate underneath, and put it back together. Clean up the deck, do the motor bearings, lubricate this cam and this mechanism, trim that. Okay, then the heads go back in, and then we'll continue on the electronics. Yeah, the deeper I get into this, the more I realize that they didn't use any lube when they put this together. It's squeaky. And I took this apart, and this E-clip broke in half. Two pieces to an E-clip. That snapped. I don't think it was, it didn't put up any fight, so I don't think it was me. And if you look at the crack, it's all black with oxides and dirt and stuff, so that was broken a long time ago. Good thing I'll get a replacement here. I think something like this would be the right size. I don't know. I'll have to check it out, but we'll get that. But looking at the, everything's dirty and it's covered in lint and it's dry. No, things are loose. That's loose. So I'm going to take this. Actually, what I'm going to do is take this knob off. I'm going to put it in the ultrasonic. Let's take this knob off too. Put that one in the ultrasonic. Get them both clean. And then we can put it all back together and lubricate it and have it nice, clean, and squeak free. Look at that. Look at that filth. Okay. Alright, I think I'm making progress here. So, I know I'm not showing a lot of this on camera because a lot of it is just disassembly, cleaning, lubing, reassembly. But it's a pretty basic mechanism. But one thing that did throw me for a loop was this little mechanical thing here. Let me see that. Zoom in. There is a little lever. Well, it's like a pin with a cut on the end so that the spring will hang on to it. And then it just kind of just sits in here. And it goes and it rests against the post for the knob. And that provides a direct connection between the knob and the lever so that it doesn't have slack. See how that's working there? I couldn't for the life of me figure out where this piece fell out. I couldn't figure out where it went, but looked at a photograph that I took of the assembly before I took it apart, and there it was, looking like this. So that's what it does. It just provides, it reduces the slack with this spring so that there's no play. But everything's feeling a lot better now. It's all loose and lubricated, and everything's looking good now. This thing, it is performing a lot better than what it was when I first started. Now, let's see here. Now, this broken E-clip came from the shaft of this knob, and when I took it apart, there is no groove cut in that shaft for an E-clip, so they just jammed an E-clip on there expecting it to hold, and I think it stretched out too far and it broke. But the only purpose of that would be to hold that knob down in its position, but I don't think it's necessary, because once you put the plastic cover on, it holds the knob down and it won't come up. So I think we're good here. We're just going to leave it like that. So another thing I did is I lubricated the top bearings on these two motors. They sound great. They're spinning free. Everything's good. Cleaned a lot of junk around from the shaft there. There's a lot of dust and crud. Everything's good now. And we also, remember, we adjusted this leaf spring. These leaf switches so that they now engage. So this thing's ready to be put back in service. I also took the volume pot apart and cleaned it and deoxed it with the F100. So that should be good now. That's it. Now I'm ready to, let's see here. I don't want to start the electronics until I've had a chance to really test it. So let's put it together. I have the case is now complete. The top of the case is all glued back together. I have these studs mounted back with epoxy, and I can remove this tape. I just put this on here to keep the epoxy under control. So I think this is going to hold good now. These are going to hold. I was actually thinking of wrapping some kind of filament or something around this just to secure it, but I don't know. I think it doesn't really need it. And I was also thinking of putting a second application of epoxy just to fatten up the plastic around it. This is all holding good. Everything's holding good, so I'm going to put it back together in the... one thing I should do, actually, it's not bad. It's not really dirty. A little bit of dirt in the corners here, that's about it. I think I might just hit that with a cotton swab and clean that up. I was thinking of dumping it in the ultrasonic, but I don't think it's necessary because there's really not that much grunge on it. I'll just I'll do a little bit of detailing on it and cleaning and getting it looking good, and then we'll put it back on and we'll give it a try. I'm kind of curious how this is going to work. This little pad here, this felt pad, is in pretty good shape. You can see it's relatively clean. There's very little use. I don't think this thing has seen very much use at all, so I'm just going to take my duster and give it a blast. Just going to blow off any of the loose stuff. And I think that's going to go. So, how does this fit? This fits like this. See, look at the construction of this thing. It's just like a little piece of sheet metal. They fold it up. It's even got a little bend here. It's so thin. I'm going to straighten this out. That's better. It's too much. Okay. And then it goes on this post. But first, let's lube this up. I'll just put a little bit of the magic grease on there, and we'll put a little bit up high. Okay. So let's put this together. It has an E-clip. Let's find this E-clip. Here it is. Okay. Maybe I bent it a little too much. Doesn't want to sit down. Just going to crush this down a bit. Just a little bit, just, oh, there it is. It dropped in. Okay, so E-clip. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Now I screwed that up because this is in the way. Oh, brother. Take the E-clip off. Okay, let's try this one more time. There we go. Here, let's try this. There. Alright, so that is in place, but we are missing the spring. So this spring, I believe, goes between here. I think it hooks on this lever, that's what I think. Let's see if it does. There's really no other way to hook this spring on. There it goes. And then this probably should have done this one first. Oh boy. How am I going to get this? Like that. There. Now, stop mode, rewind, the pads are off, play and record, the pads are on. So I think we're ready. I have soldered the wires on the back. I still need to solder these wires, and I believe it goes right here. I'm going to turn this around. Let me turn on my iron. And let's just rejoin these wires. This one goes here on this switch, and this one goes to the ground. Ground trace is this one here around. And then we'll give it a try. While we're waiting for that, let's just assemble this. Okay. There we go. There we go. What's going on here? There. A little bit of a tight fit. Okay, let's put a few nuts. I'm just going to put a couple nuts just to hold it. And then we'll test it out. Just do it loose. I'll put one screw up here just to hold this. Okay. That will hold it in secure enough. So, iron's warmed up. Let's solder this up here. Just going to tack these on. This is going to come apart later. I'm going to probably end up recapping this thing. So, okay. There we go. That's connected. Let's put our two bearing washers. We have 2 washers here. I'm just going to put down a small amount. Okay. Okay, now where's my reel tables? Just going to put it together dry because I'm going to take it apart. Why is this down? Put a nut here. I'm going to put this nut in too. I go crazy on the torque. What I want is the reel table. There, that's what I want. I want it spinning free and not rubbing on the case. Okay, let's put this one in. There. All right. I'll load it up with batteries and then we'll get a tape on it. All right, I forgot to connect the speaker, so I had to solder the speaker on the back PC board. So here's our tape, and it is a little twisted right now. Let's see, let's go this way. Spin this up. Okay, let's see if we can do this. Okay. All right. There it is. Okay, so rewind. Ooh. Play. Getting nothing. How come rewind's going the wrong direction? Play. Nothing on the amplifiers whatsoever. Okay. Now, that could be a number of things. It could be this little thing here. I didn't test the speaker. Oh, they got a broken wire already. Let me clean this up. I don't know if I just did that or if it was like that before. That's the problem when you work on these little things, all the wires want to break off from flexing. Okay, let's put this back. Come on. Why is everything going to be so difficult for me? Okay. Try it again. Okay. So we have no audio and we have slipping motors. So we got to deal with both of those. Let's attack the no audio first. Let's see what we can do for that. Whoops. Take this out of the way. Just wondering if these batteries are making connection. I think they are. Let me see here. Where's the connections for the battery? Negative, positive. So we should have 9 volts here. We got 9.7, that's correct. So let's get rid of these batteries. Let's get rid of the motor batteries. Oh, this won't work. I was thinking of connect the power supply. So I got about 8.5 volts on this power supply. Let's connect it up. Make sure we get the polarity correct. This is negative. This red wire is negative. And this one's positive. Let's put it on play mode. Turn up the volume. Nothing. Okay, let's do a little bit of probing. See if we have no power or what's going on here. So this trace that goes around the outside here, this is our ground. Let's just start checking for voltage. I don't think we have anything making through the switch. Dead as a doornail. Yeah, we've got no power getting to this, so that switch is still not working properly. And my power supply says 0, 0. There's no draw. So look what happened to our switch here again. This thing is all messed up. This is not right. I guess I wasn't paying attention when I put that back together. We have to... There we go. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to have power. Let's attach our power supply again. Okay, I can hear it now. You can hear the amplifier. It's working. Sounds like it's working good. Yes, we'll try it one more time. I'll put batteries in, put it back in the case, put batteries in, and we'll try it one more time. Okay, test number 2. So we got the tape loaded, rewind. Does not seem to want to work. I don't know if I hear the amplifier is working again. Wow, look at the wow and flutter on that thing. It's barely moving. I still don't think I have any audio. Let me take this tape out. Let me check this. I don't hear anything there. Ah, no wonder. It's a really poor setup for these batteries. Wow. Yeah, I think we lost our power to the amplifier. Our battery holder's not playing nice. Okay. Still don't hear anything. It's working now. We should be getting a lot more than that through this amplifier and that little whisper. So I think the next step is going to be capacitors. Okay, here it is removed. What I have 10 electrolytics on here, and what I'm going to do is lift one leg. Well, they're all going to come out anyway, but I'm going to lift one leg and then I can test them proper. I'm going to do the same for the resistors. I don't know if I can trust these resistors to be correct and on tolerance, so I'm going to lift one leg, test the resistance. If it's fine, it goes back down the board, resolder it. And some of these old Elna caps here look like film caps, or maybe they're paper. This one's a 1 nanofarad. This one's a 10 nanofarad. There's a couple of those here, those black ones. Here's another one. And I think that's it. So I'm going to test those as well. Make sure that they're all good. Here's another one. This is a 5 nanofarad. This brown one here. So, testing all these caps, pulling them out because I think they're all garbage, but I'm going to test them as we go. We could actually, these are all 5 microfarad. 1, 2, 5 microfarad, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's 3 30s, and then there is a 10 here. So they all get replaced. All right, here we go. So this is what I've gone through, and I've replaced quite a few parts actually. This is all I've replaced right here. This is all capacitors and one resistor. This resistor had the end cap come off. It's a 30K, so I replaced it. It still measures 30K, oddly enough, when you press it back together, but you can't rely on that as a reliable part now that it's fallen apart and come put back together again. So all these caps have been replaced. I replaced 2 of the film caps too, because they were, or 3 of them actually, they were out of tolerance. This is a 1 nanofarad and it measures at 800 and some picofarads. This one here is a 10 nanofarad, and I can't remember what this one measured. It was down. Let me see again. Let me try it. It's measuring okay now. Maybe there was something wrong with it. But everything else is done except, oh, I cleaned this switch. I still need to deaux this switch. Everything else is done. I cleaned the back of the board. Looks a lot better now. So this is ready to get put back in and installed and tested. Okay, so that's out of the way. Now during the last test, these reel tables weren't spinning the greatest, and I think it's just that these rubber surfaces need cleaning and revitalizing, so let's do that right now. We got some alcohol. Just gonna give them a quick clean, and then we'll give them. Yeah, there's a lot of junk and dust on these. And you get that dust on the surface, it causes the drive to slip on it, the rubber. So let's just take this all off, clean it up, and then we'll give it a touch of rubber renew. I don't even know if you can buy this stuff anymore. MG Chemicals Catalog 408. Bought this probably 30 years ago now, and I'm still 3/4 of a bottle. That's how little I use it. But you don't want to use much of this because it stinks up the house and gives you brain cancer. So let's just clean this off. And this will strip off all of the dried up rubber on the surface. Leave fresh rubber underneath. It's kind of a cleaner. You can see all the black coming off. Okay. Let's do the other one. A new Q-tip. I always put the lid back on because I'm scared if I knock this bottle over, that would be a catastrophe. If I spilt it on the bench, or how would you clean it up? It would just, and the stench from this would be so overpowering. I'm just really nervous about it. I don't even know why they put it in a glass bottle. Probably because it would eat through anything plastic. Look at how this just picks up all the trash on there. Okay, let's give it one more with a clean swab. I keep going until it comes clean. Yeah, it's still picking up a little. Ugh, what the hell's that? Okay. think I've had enough of that. You can see what it does to the surface. It cleans it and gives it a matte finish. Alright, so let's clean the bearing, and then we'll relubricate and get this put back together. This is a contact cleaner. So, see all the crap that comes out of the bearing. Okay. Now we're just going to lubricate. Don't want to get any on the rubber because it'll make it slip, obviously. So let's just keep it away from the rubber, get it in on the bearing surface. Get a little bit on the outside too. Okay, let's put it together. Alright, everything's back together. Here we are. Let's give it a try. Batteries are loaded. So rewind. Still does not work. I really wonder why it's not... I can hear music. Why is this so stiff? Something wrong with this reel here. I don't have it too tight. Let's pull this off and have a look at why it's not working. It is working though. I heard something off the tape. Sounds like music. This here why is that being so difficult? Maybe I got oil on there, I'm not sure. I'm going to clean it one more time. Let's clean it with some of this. This is zero residue. Let's try this stuff. All right. It's dragging. That's what the problem is. Okay. So I need another washer here. Let me stack another washer on here just to raise it. I think the case is dragging right here. Now this was cracked off. I'm not sure if I have, the case is mounted, but let me get a washer. Okay, this is what I picked out. It selected looks like a Teflon washer. And we're just going to drop that on. And let's give it a little bit of lubricant. Make sure we give enough lubricant on this. I have a feeling this post is bent, maybe slightly that way, and that's why it's dragging on the one on the back here. And if that's the case, I might have to just try and straighten it. But we're going to try this first, just to raise it like that 0.5 millimeter or so. And okay, there. I think that's better. So let's put this on. Let's reload our tape. Come on, get down there. What's it hung up on? There we go. All right. Speed control slows it down. You can see it's still dragging here. I take a piece of paper. Well, it's working, but it's not working very good. That's what you get when you have a tape system without a capstan and roller. There's no speed regulation here whatsoever. They're relying on these two motors to pull the tape through at a constant speed, and that's never going to happen. There's slippage, there's dragging, there's, you know, any little upset's going to upset the speed. It seems like it's... let's see. Seems like this one... It seems like this reel is too low, and the tape coming off on to the take-up reel is dragging here on this side of the reel. You can see it. Drags, let's go, drags, let's go. Now these reels are probably warped, but on the other hand, like I said, this is not a precision machine, it's more like a toy. So yeah, you're gonna, if I raise this a little bit, it should work. It's really struggling. And I think the reason it's struggling is because of, let's see here. I don't think this one's dragging. I think this one's having a little trouble on the rubber. The rubber might have some spots that still need cleaning. Let me go through and clean this rubber rim one more time and see how that does. There's not much torque here at all. Okay, so what I did is I cleaned that rubber tire on that reel table one more time with contact cleaner this time. And I bent this post that way a little bit, and it seems to be a lot more straight. Let's try it. Rewind probably won't work. Yeah, it doesn't work. That's as good as it gets, folks. That's what you get for plopping down your money for a mini tape recorder back in the 60s.
Alright, fellas, see you shortly.
Looks like they recorded something off the radio. Slow it down. Well, there you go. That's it, the Mini. Thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.